episode 29 of One Man's Opinion. Today I am reviewing Playhouse and Park's production of the complete works of Jane Austen Abridged, written by Jessica Bedford, Kathryn MacMillan, Charlotte Northeast, and Meghan Winch, directed by MacMillan, running through October 22nd at the Playhouse at 244 Park Road in West Hartford, Connecticut. If you like my channel and you want to support me in my ventures to New York City and across Connecticut bringing you this content, you can show your support by becoming a patron over on my Patreon page for as little as $1 a month. Thank you to my patrons, and now back to the review. Let's put this forward right at the beginning. If you come to see the complete works of Jane Austen Abridged, expecting something along the lines of Daniel Singer, Adam Long, and Just Winfield's The Complete Works of William Shakespeare Abridged, you're going to be grossly disappointed. This piece, making its New England premiere, is far less frenetic and a bit more focused, for lack of a better word. Though about 100 minutes, the play takes its time establishing the premise of the piece. Charlotte, played by Charlotte Northeast, and Brittany, played by Brittany Onukwugha, are preparing for their performance for us, the audience, when Charlotte announces that their male actor has quit the production at the last moment and they need a new actor. In comes Mike, played by Shannon Michael Wamser, who is an actor who jumps at the opportunity to perform in a piece though he hasn't read a single piece of writing of Jane Austen. The two women explain to Michael, thus in turn the audience, the importance of Austen's work and how it is significant to them specifically. Things start off well as Michael attempts to keep up with the two women with their first abridged performance of Austen's 6 novels, Pride and Prejudice. There's a bit of fantasy with the segment as Michael has no real knowledge of the piece, but when he puts on different hats representing different characters, whether it be Mr. Darcy or Colonel Fitzwilliam or whomever, the character automatically embodies him and the scene goes forward. The problem is that when Pride and Prejudice ends, we fast forward in time, and Mike is now well into reading all of Austen's novels, even the very posthumous Lady Susan, which is scantily addressed. This jump in time breaks the immediacy of the original premise of the play that the two women have to deal with a guy who is completely lost on Austen's works. The characters have already broken the fourth wall with the audience. It's like the setup served the purpose of the first piece, but now we're going to ignore it, or at least minimize the problem of the story in order to interpret the other works. Each work gets its own style of presentation, and which I think is kind of novel, but some work better than others, and most of it has to do with how the tale is told. Pride and Prejudice is cleverly done, if a bit fantastic, and Emma and Sensibility are both done with degrees of reverence and delightful farce. But the performances of Mansfield Park and Persuasion feel more like afterthoughts, and the Northanger Abbey piece, which is an attempt at telling an Austen book through the use of Dungeons and Dragons, falls flat. Even though Wamser is very dedicated to the performance of that piece, his performance is funny, but the elements feel forced. Persuasion is the piece given the most disservice, as Charlotte lauds the piece throughout the entire show, but in the end, we're not given any dramatization of the story and its characters, instead getting a monologue of why it's so important to Charlotte as she recounts the story. It feels like a cheat. When we've had 3 excellent scenes of the aforementioned Pride and Prejudice, Emma and Sense and Sensibility, I feel like Persuasion should have been given more. The same can be said for Mansfield Park, where Mike more or less does a quick synopsis as well, but because the two ladies aren't interested in the piece, because it's their least favorite, it gets pushed to the side. Though I felt the Northanger Abbey piece doesn't work, I do like its daringness of trying the Dungeons and Dragons element. The other two just feel dismissive. I do like the clever little homage to Austen's lesser works, like her Juvenilia, where the 3 performers take turns doing dramatic movie trailer voices, giving quick synopses to some of her pieces. That's a very clever, hysterical little moment. Regardless of the success or failure of each segment, the cast are all dedicated, and they do seem to all cherish the works of Austen and the writer herself, and that's where the play succeeds most. Not necessarily in its comic presentation of the segments, but in its admiration for Austen's timeless message of feminist strength in an oppressive patriarchal society. Charlotte and Brittany in particular capture the sentiment in a passionate, endearing way that is celebratory and educational. The complete works of Jane Austen Abridged is hit and miss with its scenes, but the dedication and affection shown for Austen herself and her continued importance by the writers and the cast is exemplary and a fair reason to see this production. But I am only one man's opinion, so be sure to leave yours in the comments below. If you'd like to see the complete works of Jane Austen Abridged, I'll leave a link where you can get tickets in the description. You can support my channel by becoming a patron on Patreon. A link to that will be in the description as well. You can also support my channel by liking, sharing, and subscribing, and click the notification bell to be alerted to future reviews. My next review will be Pearly Victorious, a non-Confederate romp through the cotton patch, currently on Broadway. Thank you for watching, and I will see you at the theater.